Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Hey everyone, this is Liza. And everyone else is missing.
Not everyone, darling.
Just about.
Oh, come on. It's just you and me. It's like the old days.
Basically. Hey everyone, this is Liza. Now, I think it'd be easier to say who's not here. Well, John's not here. He's in Daytona. Knock's not here. Well, you know, fuck Knock. I know I told everyone to stop saying that, but Emma, do you agree with me?
No, fuck no.
There. Okay.
Do you know what his excuse is?
He was here, said he was going to stay, and then he leaves right before.
No, do you know what his excuse was?
He's got homework.
How old is Knock? He's a 45-year-old man, and he has homework.
Yes. And that's Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings.
I see Jim's not here. I don't know. And Bagel is having technical difficulties, but he's looking so marvelous.
Oh, he is.
In his Vespa scooter jacket. Let's see if we can get his mic to work. He's
Bagel,
trying. He's
darling.
trying.
Can you hear me, Major Tom? Oh,
he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Oh, I can lip read though. He's speaking in tongues. Yes. Oh, that wasn't very nice, Bagel.
Well, Bagel's going to have to try and figure that out. In the meantime, Emma.
Yes, darling.
We had another wonderful day in the garage
We
today.
had the most fantastic day in the garage. It was absolutely wonderful.
But we also had a fantastic day yesterday. So we went for a nice little ride and went and visited our friend, Rob Talbot, and had fun hanging out.
And you know what? I mean, Rob is always good company. We took a little spin out to the museum.
Yeah, in Carmel Valley.
You were riding your Africa Twin.
Yes.
And I was on Dear Rufus. Oh, God,
yes.
I was having so much fun on him.
That isn't what you started on, though.
No, I actually started. So, my best friend Mike Beck bought himself a brand new Royal Enfield Meteor 350. And he's been keeping it at my house.
Not meatless.
Not meatless. It's Meteor. Actually, you know, I should get some side panel stickers made up. Instead of M-E-T-E-O-R, it's M-E-A-T-I-E-R, the Meteor 350. What a charming bike.
Here's the thing. I want that bike to be successful. I'm not sure why I'm so rooting for it.
Well, it's a brilliant bike.
I know it's an underpowered street bike.
Well, just hang on.
No, hold on. I know it's an underpowered for 350 compared to modern 350s that we have, but I want it to kind of replace like the Ninja 250, the Rebel 250 to be another good option for people who want a low displacement, smaller bike.
Well, you just...
Because I think it looks cool.
Just hang on there.
What?
I mean, I am the first to admit I haven't ridden a Rebel 300 in a year or so. But that Royal Enfield is not... If it is slower, I would be surprised. It's certainly got a little punch to it.
It's a Royal Enfield. How much punch can it have?
Oh, you'd be surprised. It's the thing that it makes up for lack of power. It's very, very smooth. And the transmission is just delightful.
Well, here's the thing. Most of the classic or retro trend bikes are bigger bikes.
Right.
This one is for newer or younger riders. Not necessarily. It's not a big bike. I kind of like it. It's that retro classic.
It's got a great style to it.
It's classic cruiser, but not too cruisery. It's just a dropped seat. I'm rooting for it. I want it. I want it to succeed.
Yeah, no, and I think it will. Price is great. Quality control seems really, really good.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I mean, nothing's rattled off it so far. I did the first service on it, and because it was Mike, I just went front to back and did everything. and nothing was out of spec. Nothing looked particularly gruesome. The engine oil, even though it was that really thin braking oil, it came out pretty clean. Valve clearances needed nothing. Plug gap needed nothing. I mean, it was really... I was absolutely tickled about how nice it was to do the first service on.
Wait a minute. We might have success. Bagel, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey!
Oh, it's the dulcet tones of the Bagler. I've never been so happy to hear your golden ginger voice, Bagel.
Oh, thank you, Emma.
Oh, you're welcome,
glad
darling.
To join us. So, yeah, wonderful ride, hanging out with Rob, and we're working on things. I'm just going to say...
We've got plans in the works, and we're going to hold our cards pretty close to our chest.
We are, but because we've had people out there say they may want to come out. I am working on putting together a fabulous party for our 500th episode.
Right.
And it is going to be open to anyone and everyone. And I would hope people would come out. Look, we're talking about, wouldn't it be fun to do like a barbecue Friday night, a big party all day Saturday with a ride and a couple rides, and then maybe come hang out in the garage on Sunday? Like a weekend with the Misfits.
What could be better?
Oh,
Sounds like a lot of fun.
I know, right? So we're working on putting that together. Also, you know what else I've been working on? Ta-da! The new website.
It's great. It's very professional.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's. I mean, it's light on content because it's new, but what's there is great.
And I'll be honest, I'm not good at that stuff. Bagel knows. And I finally found a,
Developer?
An app or whatever that I understand and I can build stuff out easy. It's one of those just, fill in the blank kind of ones, but it's letting me add all the stuff that I've wanted to add. So that's great. And then, all the shirts went out.
All of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the shirts went out.
Wait a minute. Last week when I was here, when I went through your living room, it looked like the shirt mountain.
Yeah. I shipped out almost 200 shirts.
Good Lord.
I know. Yeah. So if you haven't seen yours yet, it should be coming in soon. And
When you do see your shirt, your jaw will drop because they are so awesome. It's my favorite, I think.
It's a really nice looking shirt.
It's a great looking shirt. I liked the red outline ones with the cartoonish writing, but this one is something else completely.
Yeah, it's like it's glowing.
Anyway, if any of you hear some odd crunching, I was given something by Henry, and it is tiramisu almonds, artificially and naturally flavored, net weight 0.35 ounces, 10 grams, 150 calories in the bag. And I mean, I couldn't resist, so I'm going to start chomping on these, so forgive me. Are you going to mute me?
I should. I should.
Oh God, they look like little turds.
So I want to.
It's like a little rabbit poo.
Oh no.
Oh, and so
Oh God.
John is in Daytona. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos and the pictures
John's
coming out
been
of Daytona.
Crashing gold wings over bridges.
My gosh. I thought that Sturgis was the deadliest rally. Well, but I haven't heard of any deaths. The crashes are incredible because they're going around in this circle, and when they crash, they just keep sliding and sliding.
Yep.
It's crazy. And then, did you guys see the thing about the gold wing that went over the drawbridge?
Yes.
Did you see this, Bagel?
Oh no.
Yeah. So a gold wing with a trailer seemed to bust through. I mean, all the details are kind of spotty, but basically said it was raining out and a gold wing with a trailer crashed through the arm or and went up the bridge as it was raising, and then the Goldwing went over the edge and the trailer hooked on the lip.
Oh geez.
Yeah. And I haven't heard the story about, is the rider okay? Were they just having trouble seeing in the rain, or were they like, having a medical thing, or were they trying to jump the gap with a Goldwing with a trailer? Because I want that to be the right answer.
I think we all want that to be the right answer. I mean, obviously, the only thing that stopped that Goldwing was when the hitch...
That hitch held
it, and it was kind of dangling over the edge. But dear God.
Yeah, the Goldwing is dangling over the edge.
Man.
What?
Lunacy at Daytona. But you talk about the crashes. You know, famously, Barry Sheen crashed at Daytona in 75, and he went down at 172 miles an hour, which at that time was the fastest recorded motorcycle crash up to that point. And he was on a prototype Suzuki 500, and the tires just blew out. They couldn't handle the speed, the sustained speed. And he lost a tire at 172 miles an hour.
I've heard that they've had a lot of rain, which is making things
interesting.
There's one, it wasn't a wreck, it was a save, but and I don't remember who it was, but riders going around the turn, and one of them went wide as he was accelerating, and he hit the wall, the high wall.
Oh, I saw that.
Bounced up in the air, came back down, and got knocked across the line of traffic, kind of clipping 3 different people, and nobody went down. They all...
Yeah, I saw that. It was a great save. It's wild.
Wow.
Pucker moments.
Yeah, that was pucker-inducing, and no mistake, Gav.
You know, and
God,
is that an event that we want to consider going to? I don't know. I mean, with all the racing, it looks kind of fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, you'd go not just for the racing, you'd go for the spectacle.
And the baggers?
Yes.
I don't know if you saw, there was one of the heats where the guy in the back took off and his bike just launched, and he had passed almost everyone before like the first turn. It was crazy. There's so much power. And then you could see that back wheel as he's starting to get in that turn, and still accelerating, that back wheel started sliding around. He was at the edge of the power and friction and all the things.
At the edge of adhesion.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yes.
Yes.
So while we're waiting for our guests to come, because we got cool topics tonight.
Oh, God, yeah.
Also, I owe you money. You bought me something yesterday that I'm quite excited about.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's my gift to you, Liza.
Oh, no, I still owe you some money. But this is just, I'm going to say a hot tip, because, I love a deal.
Oh, yeah.
I love a deal. And we stopped in at Cycle Gear because I was wanted to check out some helmets. And they have a line of Sedici wet dry bags of all different sizes some of them are small to strap onto like your your engine guards or something, right? And then all the way up to backpacks,
right,
saddlebags, everything, and they are cheap. So I got this, you could fit like a 2-liter bottle of soda in there, right? And it's $39.99 for wet dry with all the D-rings and the straps and all the things. I love it. It's perfect size for me because all my bikes have like top cases. And when you put like a roll of tools in there, they bounce around. So I wanted to have a smaller bag to put those kind of tools and stuff that just permanently stay in there, which was really, really cool. So thank you for that. And just a hot tip, check out the Sedici wet dry bags at Cycle Gear. So Emma.
Hello, darling.
So our topic tonight, we have a, what do you call it? It's an arcing. Do we call it an arcing topic?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it as forming an arc. And I mean, I'm really excited about our guest tonight because it's such a good
something
subject.
We haven't talked about much, but this ties in with, I'll say our main theme tonight is choppers. Yes, I know, like choppers. I mean, that thing that used to be cool that isn't cool anymore. Well, first of all, when the whole chopper scene was happening, like 2000 to really 2010. It was
right. It's when they came back. I mean, they really made inroads back in like 98, 99, and it really got a foothold around the 2000s.
I was all in.
Yes.
I loved it.
No, I know you were.
I went down to West Coast Choppers just to stand outside the gate and watch Jesse James fabricating. Like I loved it. I loved the the craft, the artisan art. When Jesse James was doing, he actually hammered his fenders, and it was really about the craft. And I built my own chopper. I watched all those chopper building shows, and I actually really love seeing the tooling that they use. And yes, I'll even say like Orange County Choppers, which kind of was when it kind of the arc petered out. But I love seeing like those boring tools to bore out pipe to fit pipes together, and like this, and the bending and making jigs. And even though a lot of their bikes were just bolting parts on, they still fabricated things. I loved that. I want more of that. I can't get enough of that fabrication.
Yeah. I mean, we all love building bikes. My craft, as you well know, I love building these resto mods, which is where I found my happy place. But choppers, I've always just so admired that scene. I'm just not cool enough to be in it.
Did you ever do a chopper?
Yes, I did. And it was actually quite a righteous build, but it was clunky because I was out of my comfort zone. I did silly things like instead of having a 21-inch front wheel, I had a 19-inch front wheel, and the forward controls were a bit clunky-ish, and it wasn't where I was at.
So I don't know if I ever told you why I built a chopper.
Why did you build a chopper,
See,
Liza?
it is kind of interesting. So this is before the Recycle Garage was here.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had a Roadstar, I had a BMW R1100 RT, I had a GPZ 1100, and I had a GB 500.
Surely you mean a GPZ, though.
So when I moved here, I had like 4 great running bikes.
Yes.
And I'd worked on bikes before, but not a lot. Mm-hmm. I was getting into it. And this is that moment when I said, I want to become a better mechanic. And I had a couple choices. I was looking into, you can go to MMI. It was like 10 grand. You can learn to become a mechanic. Or I figured I could just buy 10 grand's worth of parts and teach myself. So I did. I started buying parts. I started buying tools. And really, the garage that is set up right now that we use for Recycle Garage, it was set up originally for my chopper building it, which took a couple years to build.
Okay.
So that was kind of, it ties into the beginning of the garage and me building up all the tools that you need and, learning to weld and learning to do all these things. And being inspired by the TV shows.
Right.
And I built a really cool bike.
We've all taken a journey that has brought us here. And your journey, if you look at the origins of the Recycle Garage, you could probably find it in that chopper. The origins for me are in the vintage bikes I've built.
Yeah, and I really thought that bike was cool. I enjoyed it. But, I got rid of it, for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't have anyone to ride with because no one else had choppers. Everyone here were already riding sport bikes and supermotors. But the biggest reason I got rid of it, when you're spending like $1,000 on a set of forward controls, like Pro 1 forward controls, we live so near the ocean that within a year, I had chrome flaking off in sheets.
Yeah.
Of these parts I paid a lot of money for. And I couldn't maintain and keep the bike clean and too close to the ocean for that much chrome. Also, the quality of chrome by that point was pretty crappy, American chrome. I don't blame the companies. A lot of it was all the restrictions and everything. I think the best chrome is really like 60s England because I know people died for that chrome.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. Cyanide was part of the process.
Yeah. People have to die to have good chrome. So, I ended up trading that bike away. But it was cool. But you know what? For me, it was the process of building it.
Right. And that's your origin of the Recycle Garage.
Yeah. Oh, I hear a sound. Oh, you know who's joined us? It's everyone's second favorite ginger. It's Brandon.
Konnichiwa.
Hey.
Hey, Boffin in the house.
And
happy to be back.
Yeah. So you were brought in for a special reason tonight. Let me see. William, or do you want to keep waiting for Matt or do you want to start getting into it? All right. He said, let's.
Yeah, he should be joining probably in the next minute or two. So I'll leave it up to you guys.
No problem, because we got some really cool stuff. I'll just start the introduction. Why we got Brandon here, who hasn't been on in a while. Why we got William here. All the things. So I said tonight is about choppers. Well, one of the topics is there's this great film that was recently came out.
It's great.
Called The Roost.
Yes.
And it is about the Japanese chopper scene.
Oh, I got to watch this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And William, if you didn't know, Brandon lived in Japan. He's familiar with kind of the scene a bit too. That's why we brought him in. He's our ringer.
Nice.
William, 日本語できる?
少しだけで.
Oh,
Hey!
Oh, shit just got real, man.
Knock it off, you two.
I'm going to do this all in English. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, the Japanese chopper scene is fascinating.
Oh,
in fact,
absolutely.
I mean, we really do need to start exploring. Different countries have different scenes. Like, I love that. Remember that movie I had in one of our film festivals about, I think it was the Indonesian scooter scene.
Yeah, they're making them out of logs.
They're making them out of wood and stuff. It was absolutely crazy.
Just crazy, right?
Yep.
I love seeing other countries and what they do. And Japan has a history.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my story with Japan with English bikes. Back in the early 90s, I was involved with vintage bikes even back then, back home in England. This was just before I came to the States. And we sent a lot of bikes to Japan. Standard, just Bonnevilles, BSA Lightnings, BSA Thunderbolts, anything that was classically British. And Japanese culture, when they grab something, they grab it and run with it.
Yeah.
And whenever we sold a bike, about 3 or 4 months later, we'd get this delightful picture back of this young man who's bought the bike, and he was in the gear. The black leather jacket with the badges and the chains, dark denim pants with the long boots with the white socks turned over the top, the traditional pudding basing helmet. It was like being back in England in the 60s. It was wonderful to see. And a lot of it was based on the look of the bike. And so I know that when they have an interest for something, it's full on. It's all in.
So that's called otaku. And what it is it's sort of like Asperger's, but with something that you really like, that's actually cool, though. And you just like dive completely into it. Unfortunately, otaku can also be things that are not cool. They can smell. But this is literally, I'm just telling you how Japanese people view this thing. But you can be what's called a bike otaku. And that means you're like, your entire, we're all bike otaku here, actually. Like your life sort of.
Is it like motosexual?
Absolutely. Yeah, that motosexual would be a great, that'd be a different type of otaku. They probably have stores for that over there. Maybe vending machines, if anybody knows what I'm talking about.
So, one of the best stories I heard, we had this car in England in the 1960s called a Vandenplas Princess 1100. And the best way to describe a Vandenplas princess, if you imagine a Rolls Royce that's the size of a Mini, that's exactly what it was. It was a tiny little Rolls Royce thing. And we sent thousands of these things in the 90s over to Japan. They absolutely loved this. And it was almost like a live-action role-playing thing. We'd get these pictures of these guys dressed up in suits, and the girls were dressed up like they were going to the Ascot races with the hats, sipping tea in the back of these cars. It was brilliant.
Oh, my.
Oh, I miss Japanese culture so much.
It's
man.
fantastic. So
I think one thing that, and I'm sure we'll get into it more later, and Matt can add more to it, but it's not, when we went around filming this over the 2 years, I realized it's not fake either.
Oh no, it's
they're
very
not,
real.
It's not like they're just dressing up like cosplaying or wearing a costume. It's like they kind of really dig it. And there's a lot of heart behind it.
Yeah.
And I think you meet these people and like first you're like, whoa, this is so like, what year is it? It's like over there some
What
60s, over
is
there
it?
some 80s, but then like you sit down and you chat with people and like they're kind of just like, this is like, it's like what they do. It's not like a
right.
Yeah, it takes it beyond. It's not just otakuism, like this kind of like obsession with this thing. It's kind of like they've turned it into like a cool little facet of their life.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean.
And that's the thing that I kind of figured out is it really is. It's an absolute lifestyle thing, and it's everything about it is just wonderful.
Oh, I think he's joined us. Matt, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey!
All right.
So we need to cover this. Matt, where are you calling in from?
Calling in from Sydney, Australia at the moment.
Nice.
Wow.
It's tomorrow already in Sydney, isn't it?
This is a time traveling
Seeing the
podcast.
future. I literally am calling back from the future.
Yeah.
Yes. How is it on Monday morning, darling?
It's been a great week. They actually just skipped straight to Tuesday this week. Everyone voted. We're just like, nope, we're going in heavy.
And
We need Mondays.
And Will, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling just outside of Tokyo in Saitama. So
And it is also tomorrow morning in
Whoa,
Tokyo,
it
isn't it?
It
Bloody
is also.
hell!
It's a beautiful,
I know.
sunny. It's sunny. It's like 10:30 in the morning here. So.
I have to say your background is absolutely delightful. I'm absolutely fascinated with everything that's going on
is that
behind
Portland?
you.
So actually, it's not a photo. It's a still image from an animated movie here.
Oh, cool.
It's from the animated series called Evangelion. It's one of my favorite directors, and it was I don't know, just thought it was such a beautiful image, and it was I think I just put it up as my Zoom background a couple of months ago, and I was like, I'm going to keep this up. It's really
I'm
nice.
going to guess you're in your 30s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that show so well. Like that was on Toonami, and like this is exactly what all of the nerds like me, I'm calling you a nerd, man, watched when we were in high school.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
darlings, I'm older still, so I remember Monkey Magic and Eon Flux.
Oh, Monkey Magic. Do you know the
Okay.
band
All
Monkey
right.
Magic?
All right, all y'all simmer down. Simmer down. Hey, so we got Matt and Will here to talk about the Japanese motorcycle scene and the movie The Roost, which really highlights and shows it. So the scene that you guys, let me let you guys talk about it, because I think a lot of people here still have an idea of choppers based upon the last trend here, where it kind of got out of control and they're not as cool anymore. But in Japan, it's wicked cool. You want to talk about the scene there and how you came to make the movie?
Yeah, look, I'll jump in. Absolutely. It was a big part of what drew me to the country. You know what I mean? Like this is a country that's so into motorcycles that a niche is always on song for everything. It's not sort of cycling, out of fashion. There are people who are just living this. You've just got to go and find them.
Before you say anything more, can we talk a little bit about who you are? Do you have a background in filmmaking? Do you have a background in motorcycling?
I have a background in motorcycle design. So I actually, I popped out of the tertiary education machine as an industrial designer. doing carbon fiber motorcycles and stuff,
wow.
and then moved into electric. But that's a whole other story. But suffice to say that
We electric, you don't
Yeah.
say.
He's an
electric.
Brandon's an
Early.
electric
This is
wackadoo.
This is early electric. This is late 90s. When carbon fiber was still a thing and we couldn't work out how to get metal to stick to it effectively.
Yeah.
So, so that's where I kind of began the story. But Japan, through all of that training, this is sort of 80s into 90s. I mean, we're all just there looking in from afar, like noses and faces pressed to the glass of this incredible country, which was driving the world. So, yeah, it was a case of I got to get there. I got to get there. And I kind of hit early career and just went, no, that's it. Everything, burn it all to the ground and jump ship and head over there and make it a reality and start living it. So yeah, that's where that story begins for me. But that was, that started in the 90s and it became a reality in 2005. I think Will's probably got a similar sort of story of passion, but around filmmaking.
Yeah.
So Will, you're the filmmaker.
Yes, yeah. I came here in 2008 with a friend of mine, and we started doing creative work and film, kind of here and there, freelance and on the weekends, and they kind of turned into a career. And then we met Matthew. I don't know what year, 2010, 11.
Yeah,
what was that?
Yeah, might have been. Yeah, maybe 10.
A long time ago now.
Hang on, there's, and I'm sorry to focus on you too, but I always like to give a background of who's talking. There's an elephant in the room. Will, you're still there. Matt, you're back in Australia. Is that temporary, Matt? Are you going to go back to Japan, or is Australia your home now?
Look, I'm probably going to have to get the Japanese government on the line for that one.
Oh, okay.
I got stuck in transit and was kind of a victim of the, Australian government saying don't go anywhere. Australians can't leave and couldn't go home. But that's not a unique story at all.
Yeah, so you're back home under duress.
Yeah. And hopefully the Japan adventure will continue 1 month soon. But don't hold your breath.
Are there?
I've got some guys to introduce you to over there. I did Pikes Peak with the Blue Thunder down in Hamamatsu. Like a whole bunch of these guys in Hamamatsu. You guys will love them next time I'm back in Japan.
I'm just curious. Might we see in Japan bumper stickers that say "Free Matt"?
Ooh,
hoping so. It's a grassroots movement.
Release Matt.
So Matt, you're the biker guy, and Will, you're the film guy.
That's correct.
And so I love Matt. So Matt, you discovered that the chopper scene, the bike scene, is really cool. And Will, were you a writer before this?
No, I'm not a writer actually.
Not a writer at all.
No, but I've always had a great respect for bike motorcycles and riding culture. Well, I've always thought it was incredibly cool. So for me, the Roost and the projects I've done with Matthew were like my entry into kind of the whole culture.
And I would think that's perfect.
He tells the story. He tells the story of motorcycling better than any motorcyclist I know. Hand on my heart. I mean, I meet a lot of people, and no one can crystallize it like Will can.
So the Japanese chopper scene that we're talking about is not the crazy sparkle paint, big front wheel, bagger kind of things. They're back to the retro cool. That's what came back is the backyard build kind of look, right?
Yeah, I think it never went away.
Yeah.
And I think it was almost like an allergic reaction to, like 80s and 90s. Japan was really just recycle everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a vacuum of, vintage. There was nothing older than a couple of years. If you remember, they were flooding the world, like these used machines that were cheap. Everyone was like, wow, I can get, low kilometer, 18-month-old. So there was really nothing. They were without it. And this was born out of a reaction to that. It was like, well, hang on, there is no patina, there is no flavor. It's shiny new or shiny newer.
Right.
And that's where it kind of came about. I think really kicked into gear in the 90s. So it was kind of about 10, 12 years before, the rest of the world kind of followed suit, just because they were subject to that environment, a lack of it.
And most of these bikes are Harleys, right? They're American Big Twin.
There's a whole mix. There's a whole mix.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Indians. There's Harleys.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of
British
Triumphs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of British stuff floating around.
Yeah, that goes with the chopper scene here. Before it blew up and got out of control, you going back to like the 60s, 70s chopper scene when it was, you had Hondas, you had Triumphs, you had Harleys, you had everything. And that seems to be kind of the era that the Japanese are really into. And you get these great builders making really cool functioning bikes, which is what I like about it too. Matt, what is it that really draw you to it?
Look, I think it's the fact that they go down the rabbit hole so hard and so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being here back, and this is not sort of talking down about any other nation, but I'm just saying these guys are just experts at the deep dive. And as an industrial designer, for me, I love to geek out on that detail. I love to sort of that second, third look is only the beginning for me.
Right.
And it's there. There's other builders around, but just not in the degree of concentration, and there's not the kind of the ability to have a whole gaggle of people around you on any Saturday or Sunday.
And you know what? As a builder myself, what drew me so much was that detail. When I build a bike, I can get the bike 90% there in 6 months. And then that remaining 10%, I can take a year, I can take 18 months just on that remaining 10%. So I know the craft and I know the value of that work. And these guys are absolutely unsurpassed. It blew me away. The detail is, and there's a Japanese look to the bikes, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. And whether it's the materials or just the precision of the way they're bolted together, there is a very unique look to the bikes, even in the nostalgia. I can see one of those bikes and I can say, that is a Japanese builder. Because there's just something. And I'll figure it out. It might take me a while, but there's something very unique about them. It's captivating to see.
No, look, it is. And I think, like when I'm out there at these events or at a builder's workshop and I'm watching what Will's capturing, like there is so many levels that you can play with. When Will's thinking in terms of light, and Will, I'll let you talk about this, but the finishes and, like the dreamscape that he's able to create because of that degree of execution is phenomenal. Will, do you want to sort of talk a bit about that?
Yeah, it was just funny. I was thinking, like, I guess because just objectively speaking, like when I was filming a lot of this content, it never occurred to me that what I was looking at was as special as it actually was. You know what I mean? Kind of if you're in a room full of motorcycles and you're like, okay, I'm here to film this, I'm here to make something look good. But then you kind of forget to actually look at the actual bikes, and like you were saying, that there's a kind of a craft, there's a quality that exists on these bikes. I didn't realize was kind of unique to the scene here. Like I've seen other builds and other bikes go, that's really great, but you can see this is the Japanese look. This is the look and the quality you see here. And I think I just got lucky because everything looked so freaking good that my job was really easy, so to speak, in terms of, well, the bikes look good. Now I just have to make sure I frame them perfectly, and I think looking, when I go back and look through the Roost, I just go, man, every single bike, just even if we're talking like, a mucked up dirt bike or one of the bikes on the show floor, like I just think they all look so cool.
Well,
so freaking cool.
Dare I say it? I think you and Matt may be the dream team because Matt's got the knowledge of bikes, and you are not approaching it as a biker. You're just approaching it in terms of art and lighting and the way light reflects off a surface and the way the shadows play on a surface.
Yeah.
And that's where the intersection of art and mechanics meet. And so between the two of you, I think that's probably what made the film so good for me. It's beautifully shot. I mean, it really is an absolutely epically shot film. Content aside, just in terms of the lighting, the composition, the storyline, it's a marvelous piece of work.
You know, and I'm curious, Will, since you're somebody who's not a writer, that you're into the visuals, you're seeing these products, and Matt may know. For me, when I look at a custom bike, the craftsmanship is in the things you don't see. Meaning, I'm not looking at the tank and the seat, the handlebars. Most people, I'm looking at, did they clean up all the welds on the frame, smooth them out? It's how the pieces fit together, like the seat to the tank. Did they actually fit it together perfectly, rather than just bolting parts? You know what I'm talking about, Matt. It's these little details that the untrained eye usually doesn't catch. And those are the things I foam at. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I think that's where, so we had those conversations for many years before we, jumped into the Roost. I mean, you got to remember this is, running for nearly 10 years for both of us. I think we both landed in Japan at a similar time. And in our own speciality. So Will definitely in the sort of the Comic-Con side of things was noticing. No, seriously, no. I'm in on this because
I'm a cool guy. I swear.
Very cool because he's
embrace your nerd. Embrace it.
He summed it up. He said, "You know what? Because we traveled around to some of the best shows, right, and the best events." And he said, you know what? This is just like cosplay, except the superhero here is this mystical biker from, Britain, 1965, or it's Steve McQueen or whatever. And it's but they execute it just
precision.
Yeah,
there's a precision
I forgot that
to
I
it.
said that. I forgot when we went to that first one. I was like, this is like Comic-Con for motorcycles.
Yeah, totally. And it's totally true. And it's afterwards, it was kind of like a release for me because I was like, that's it. That's what it is. The rest of the world has trouble relaxing and just owning it.
Can we talk a little bit about culture shock? Because, Matt, you're clearly Australian. Will, you're clearly American. Couple of city guys, I'm sure. And here you are in Japan. And yes, you're drawn to it, but that doesn't make it any easier when you're sort of thrown into this culture. So can we talk about just how it was for you when you were fresh off the boat, as it were, immersed in this biker culture?
I'll let you start, Matt. Go ahead.
Look, my story begins on a sheep farm, which is a little embarrassing.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a sheep farm.
We're talking nearly off grid. You know what I mean? So when I first hit Japan, this is ahead of me moving there, but I'd never caught a bus that you had to pay for. I hadn't caught a taxi, and nor had I caught a train.
My gosh, this must have been so shocking.
Yeah. So for me, culture shock there. Yeah, I literally walked off the bus without paying, and the person in front of me turned around and went, did you pay? And I was like, no, I didn't realize we had to. So yeah, it was a little bit of a different movie there, but thankfully, it was. I was ready for it, but I loved it. I mean, that's probably half of the pleasure is just knowing that every corner has that. You come around the corner, what's it going to be? What's the adventure going to be? At least that's what it was for me. And whether that was motorcycles or everything, the food, the smell, the lights. I mean, I still had those moments where it's just like, I'm in Japan. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm doing a night ride and there's neon lights and there's stuff, we'd be shooting out of the back of a van. I just like, this is ludicrous. Like, someone's going to just stop and go, wait, no. This is just Matthew Roberts. Send him back. There's a sheep farm that needs him. We've got
It's not a bad life being on a sheep farm.
Well, no, wait. Don't you use dirt bikes to herd the sheep?
You certainly do.
Yeah, see?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think
that's cool.
I think that was one of the fun things about, Matt, when we were filming this. Like, I think there would be these times where we just stop and kind of look at each other and like this is real. Like, that was a really cool thing that we just did. We just did that, and just like Matt, I'm not. I grew up in the countryside as well, from outside of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, and then I moved to the city and lived in Philly for about 6 years before I just kind of showed up in Japan. I had no plan, so I think that Matthew and I have a similar kind of upbringing where we know what it's like to be in the middle of nowhere, but then also when you kind of move to these megalopolises and kind of readjust your lifestyle, countryside to the city in America, and then a city in America to Tokyo. It's like it's a city, but
But you were drawn to Japan as well.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I just had an interest in, I'd never really been anywhere outside of the North and Central American continent. So I thought, let's just do something totally different here. And I think just to kind of answer the question you asked earlier about the kind of culture shock, I was surprised. Yes, there's huge differences in kind of how people do things here, but there's also like a largely warm and welcoming kind of community here, not just amongst foreign expats, but Japanese people. And, I think that I felt that even more so once we started doing the Roost as well. Like, I'm a non-rider, and I'm obviously I stand out very much as a foreigner if we're going out to these events, and on the dirt tracks, especially, like, you guys like, yeah, come on over, just sit down, have some lunch with us. Like, no judgment, no, like, oh, your Japanese isn't good enough. Nobody really cared. Everyone's just kind of really welcoming and really cool. And I think that I liked that side of it, and it's something I thought I really wanted to show in the Roost. And I think, Matt, you might agree, but I think the heart was the most important part for me. So obviously shooting it well and having strong visuals and having cool bikes and all that stuff was super important. But I think there's a lot of heart in it, in the people. And I think that's my experience in Japan, is there's always these places, if you just look hard enough, you'll find like these really great people doing really great things, and they welcome you in and don't often ask questions, and I think
it's community. I mean, we have that here too. And that's something that's great about the whole biker thing. There's a community that you tap into no matter where you are.
And I've said this over and over again on the podcast, and I say it in real life. I viscerally love motorcycles, and I know motorcycles very well. I've been wrenching on them for 45 years. But when you introduce the human element, it's a whole nother league. Without the human element, bikes are just inanimate objects. And it's the culture, and it's the community, and it's the people that keep you going. You jump on a bike and you're thrilled by how fast it is and the noise it makes and the experience. But it's the community that keeps you on the bike year after year after year after year. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like so much about the Roost. You just explore this delightful, warm, welcoming community. It really was very overwhelming.
So, hey, Matt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, one interesting thing that I noticed between sort of the couple of countries that I'd visited, as far as the motorcycle community before really putting roots down in Japan, the intimidation factor that seems to be present in some corners of motorcycle culture, in Australia or elsewhere, where it's kind of people riding to be bigger than they are, or to be a little bit more feared than they are, doesn't seem to be present in Japan.
Yep.
Right.
And it's sort of like and the plus side of that is that, when I was in Australia and I was trying to date someone, as soon as parents heard that I was a motorcyclist, like, I was on the defensive. I was on the phone to my lawyer, like, honestly, look, they've never been able to prove anything. You can leave me in my house. Don't call the police. Don't call the police. It's okay. But over there, it's more like just something that everyone does. That's, you'll find people that have been, I was a motorcyclist for 2 years, SR 400 customs, whatever. And, they're the office clerk at the accountant's, or the dentist assistant, or the school teacher, or whatever. So it's kind of, everyone's done it. So there's no stigma, and there's none of the kind of the wasted time around that intimidation and fear factor. And that lets things bloom and flourish so much more quickly and so much more sort of vividly, I guess, compared to some other corners of the world.
And I'm actually drawing some parallel lines to what's going on. I think Japan choppers are way cooler there than they are here right now. we're still in the fallout from the 10 years ago, the chopper bikes like I have on the ground here. It's a super wide tire that's not going to turn well, a tiny little sunk down seat that's not really comfortable, hardly any lights on it, it's not visible. I mean, what they became was crazy. And then we kind of went back to the roots, and now it's kind of this more vintage thing like what Mike builds. Well, I think that has happened in Japan too, because we can trace it back. They did a different thing there. And I don't know if many people are familiar with the Bosozoku. Did I say it right, Brandon?
No.
Oh, how do you say it?
You're close. Bosozoku.
What did I say? Bosozoku.
Your inflection was all wrong, Liza.
Okay. And is there still some of that there? And do you guys know what I'm talking about? That kind of bike scene?
It's there. It's there. And it's unique. It's a funny one. Look, it is unique, and the people are unique, and we could almost do a whole podcast, if you haven't done it already, on what kind of led to the Bosozoku. Because it was quite weird. They were rebels, but within the bounds of the law, except for the occasional time, when it kind of, exactly. So you'll catch these guys again, flight suits, the long stitch jackets, the 1,000 stitch jackets, and all this sort of stuff. It's there, and occasionally you'll meet people who were that, but have had to kind of
tone
get
down.
a haircut. Yeah,
but
just to be clear, they're just barely inside the law. Like back in the 70s, they were certainly outside the law. But nowadays, they're like, they give you a harsh look. They don't actually beat you up, but they still do a lot of scary stuff for the Japanese culture.
The thing I find interesting, it's not just limited to motorcycles, the Bosozoku culture. There's the car Bosozoku, and my favorite is the vans, the high ace vans.
Oh, the robot
They're
vans.
just wild.
And scooters as well.
Yeah, it's a whole gamut. Culture within a culture.
So I wanted to describe what these bikes are like, because this is a crazy, crazy scene. So, Matt, you said you're familiar. You want to try and describe why this is such a unique custom bike scene?
Look, I think because it's just driven by rebellion. That's the kind of that's what it's about. I mean, you've got an environment over here where the social pressure is unlike anything anywhere else. If you think you had social pressure growing up in the States, or the UK, or Europe, you've seen no, you haven't even begun. And so you've got these young guys usually, and to a degree women, but at a lesser extent. But this is human beings popping under the pressure. And just desperate for a way to kind of exist, and that's how they blow off steam. Now, there's a whole kind of another dark side here with the Nationalist Party and the fact that they recruit. Bosozoku is basically like an internship for Yakuza, if you want, for modern day. So it's kind of there, but let's take that out of it for a minute. As a sort of a social aspect. Let's look at it from the bikes. And it was really just about, look, how can I be so anti-establishment? They are the original punks. Okay, everyone likes quiet mufflers. Well, how can I have a muffler that is so loud that I can actually play a tune on it? Okay, like everyone else, the rule says I have to have a headlight. Well, how far up can that be above my head? There's certain aspects here that the police won't actually book me for, but I'm just going to take those to the absolute max. And I'll ride the same way. I won't go fast, but I will swerve and I will do every piece of loopy shit that I can do.
Oh, that's like how I ride, right, Liza?
So I've
to or from the pub. That's the question.
So I have this great book here we have in our library in the garage. It's How I Learned About It. And it has pictures of all these different bikes and the people and stuff like that. I want to try and describe it. So we're looking at, well, actually, Emma, I'll let you try and describe this. This is like, many of them are Japanese bikes. Like I'm looking at a Honda, probably a small displacement or mid-size.
Yeah, I mean, you're
250s and 400s.
You're looking at a Honda 400 Hawk, and very, very brightly colored. It's got giant ape hanger handlebars on it. It looks like probably a Japanese copy of a Rickman fairing, which is pushed so high.
And it's pointing up in the sky. And actually, Brandon, you had some insight as to why. I'm like, why do they point it at the sky? Your headlight is pointing up at the treetops. Brandon, why is that?
Oh, actually, that one I don't know. I know mostly about the tail of the bike because that's very interesting.
And the back is doing the same thing. The tail and the fenders are kind of pointing up.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
Well, so the tail of the bike, there's an interesting thing on there. A lot of Japanese culture has like very traditional roots in certain religious types of things, and fertility is a real big one. The tail of the bike, a lot of people look at it as a penis. And also the size of the tail of the bike will determine in some of the clubs how high up you are in the hierarchy of things. At least that's how it was back when I was in high school. And if you've got a bigger tail on your bike, the girls are more attracted to it.
So
exactly. And if you think about the hairdo, the recent, the really like over exaggerated hairdo that went with it as well back in the 60s and 70s. But there's also another thing. So if you're out there with Bosozoku riding, there's usually a pillion on a lot of the bikes, right? And the leader will actually have a flag bearer. So you'll have someone with a massive pole. This is kind of drawing in elements of samurai warfare here, where they will actually have their standard for their club, that's being waved. So you've also got a
giant. It's giant.
It's like literally pull you off the back of the bike. So I think it kind of stemmed from that as well. It's kind of like there's a functional aspect, because you'll see it on scooters and stuff too. It's kind of like, I don't want to lose my guy, because that would be the ultimate in uncool, is leaving him to the cops. I take off and my standard bearer is there getting handcuffed.
Now, are these guys generally hounded by the cops? Are they left alone? I mean, they're people who are obviously on the fringes of civilized and enlightened society. So are they treated as such by the police, or are they generally left alone?
You will, and this is the weird thing, you will find packs of Bosozoku, especially down towards Fuji. So basically the townships around Mount Fuji is kind of where they still exist. In Tokyo, you'll have to go looking for them. But if you go out, especially on national holidays, because we all rally together behind Japan, the nationalist movement, you'll find them down there, and there's still packs of 20, 30, 40, whatever, riding through and doing their thing. But the police kind of they won't harass them, but they will know where they are. Quite often they're friends with it. There's a weird connection between firefighters and Yakuza and Bosozoku as well in Japan. That's another podcast. So it's a strange kind of symbiotic relationship, where it's like you can be loopy and noisy, but you can't speed, for example. If you speed, well, we'll get you. But that sort of thing. So
I was going to say that was my first experience. I was living out in Chiba, which is the kind of prefecture to the north and west of Tokyo, and I was living just in a government housing building. These just giant concrete block complexes. 25 of them in a row because it was super cheap. And every Sunday around 11 p.m. it was like a parade. You could hear them coming down this giant stretch of road, leading past my house, and then what the hell am I hearing? And step out on the balcony, and then you just see, they're just ripping it down the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is 85% people over 70. It's we're not talking ripping through center city Tokyo with all the young kids out there with their cell phones. This is old people, retired people, but this is the only place that they could do it. So and I thought the same thing. Why don't the cops stop them? It's well, this is, again, they're not breaking the law, and they only do it every Sunday at 11 p.m. and it only takes them a minute to drive by, so it's not really a problem.
So are the bikes still that weird kind of unique look, or have they kind of turned into more of the chopper scene?
I'll let Matt fill you in on that.
Yeah. Look, it's quite interesting because the modern kind of Bosozoku is more scooter based. It's more big scooter.
Oh.
And those GSX 250s and 400s and the Honda Hawks, the CB 400s and the like, they're actually really sort of hard to get now. So they're still riding those, but now they're almost like a collector's item. At the time, it was just that the licensing system caps you at 400 unless you want to go and spend $2,500. which no teenager in their right mind has. That's twice the cost of a bike. So yeah, that's what drove it. But there was a few in the kind of 400cc 4-cylinder stuff from the 90s that they embraced, and you'll see them around. But yeah, it's the same bikes, it's the same fairings. That weird. There's a canvas fairing as well that looks like a kind of a military police. Fairing. You'll see some of them sporting. It's like a big perspex thing on the top and kind of a canvas shroud around the headlight. Which is, again, there's some status where you're a certain type of Bosozoku if you've got that.
I love it. So I have another question about the bikes that like are featured in the Roost. Many are like big twins. Now those bikes have become harder to find and very expensive here. So where are they sourcing them? And is this still an affordable thing, or are these considered high-end expensive bikes there?
No, there a lot of them are coming back out of the States. So most of the bikes, I was in Japan, I was buying bikes from Australia or America because I think there's just so many were exported, and a lot of them weren't even sold. Like the big bore Japanese that are coming back in. American stuff, it came in, but there's just such an appetite for it that they're re-importing.
We're very friendly with one of our local independent bike shops called Mason George Motorcycles. And Mason gets a lot of, big bore, older Japanese bikes. And he sends most of them exclusively to Japan now. I think the last 10 Z1s he's sold have gone back to Japan.
Yeah, every CB750 that I bought was out of the States.
Right.
And California, you wanted them from California just from a rust perspective, somewhere dry. But they're all just coming back on crates.
And big money as well. I think he had a 74 Z1. And it was an original bike. It was nice, but it's not what I'd call a concourse bike. It was a good, honest rider. And I think he got $20,000 for it. It's just a big money bike. And that went straight back to Japan. So, there seems to be this voracious appetite for the domestic product now, the larger domestic product.
There's also a collector mentality that runs strong, at least in the big cities. These guys are living in tiny little houses, it's like terrace houses that you'd find in Europe. But quite often the basement, like street level, if you're walking around your neighborhood, very unassuming house, but a roller shutter will be open and there'll be some guy that's got 5, 6, 7, 10 bikes, and they just collect. That would be a little bit sort of beyond the normal now, degrees.
Do you think there's been a change in culture in the last 20, 30 years? The only reason I ask is, having been in the motorcycle industry for as long as I have, certainly up until the mid-90s, most of the Japanese men and women that I worked with had no interest in the past. They were far more interested in the future. It's like, we don't want to talk about what we've done. We've learned from that, but we want to talk about what we're going to be doing in 10 years' time. And there wasn't really this nostalgia. So you think this is something that's really come along since the 90s?
Will, do you want to hit that? Because I think it transcends bikes. I think it's...
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, Matty. I was just thinking that there is and I think I can also understand too as the older I get, but, there's like a large secondhand culture in Japan. It's something that doesn't really exist like it does. It's not like an antique shop or a flea market in the States where you see one in one town. Like there's whole districts in Tokyo that are catered just to specific collections. Like if you go to Akihabara, you can find old video games that range from the 70s up until now, and they'll be in great condition. And there's a constant market. There's a constant group of consumers, people that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, kind of going there looking for retro games, old art books and things like that. And I think I'm not as an expert, of the motorcycle culture, but it seems to me there's a similar kind of mentality attached to the biking scene here. So you will see like younger people like that are kind of like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this bike that maybe I saw my grandfather had, or you know, my dad had, but never really talked about, or maybe a neighbor. Just like Matt said, maybe some kid's walking by a house and sees some motorcycles in a garage and goes, "Hey, what the heck are those?" And you know, and the
What
nice
about
thing
the
is,
upstairs? What about upstairs in Haywa? Remember
oh
upstairs
yeah,
in Haywa? Tell them about that one.
well, yeah. If you guys remember, in the Roost, Haywa was, I think, one of the earlier writers. He had this whole section, this whole loft section of his garage that was like maybe half of the bikes were ones that he built, and the other half were just bikes he collected and was maybe going to remodel or gonna, you know, kind of
right,
like you know, whether it's like, oh, maybe I'll use that for something later. Maybe a customer might want that one. But I think the mix of
didn't he have like homewares and a whole lot of collections?
Sorry, yeah.
Well, he had he had everything. It was like there was clothes, there was toys, there was like it was a whole other world.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, totally. I was thinking of the other. He had two upstairs. One was bikes. One was like actual antiques. No, it's the same thing, and that was an interesting thing too, because it wasn't just the Japanese content. It was he really liked Americana stuff, like these old porcelain statues and lights and belt buckles and ashtrays and weird dolls and stuff. And he was just like, I just love all this stuff. And we would look at it as Americans and go like, oh, that's the kind of stuff you'd see in your grandmother's house. That's weird. But when you see him kind of collect it and the way he talks about it and how he says like, oh, this inspired me to, I like looking at these old things, and then that gives me ideas for my bikes and my builds. And it's you can kind of see it. That's kind of part of the heart of the Japanese culture, like that kind of like I said earlier, it's like they don't want to like
deep respect for tradition and older things.
Yeah, but it's like like I said, it's not to say they just like they look at something and then copy and paste it. It's kind of like they want to really understand it. They want to kind of like say, I'm going to commit to this thing, and then how can I then tailor that to something that I want to build or something that I want to, an image that I want to present. And I think you see that, like Heiwa, for example, he loves retro things. And when you look at his bikes and you look at him and you look at what he collects, and you can kind of see all of those things come together in his builds, and they're beautiful. And like, it doesn't feel like he's faking it. It feels like this is like this is like what I make. This, you know what I mean? Like that's his heart right there. Each little bike is like a piece of his heart, and it's kind of all those things coming together.
Well, it sounds like you really got an appreciation for the craftsmanship, the art. And actually, guess what? I have a surprise for y'all. It's game time.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah!
Wow!
So Matt and Will have no idea what's about to happen. So
I don't either.
We like to play games on this show.
Oh God!
And you all get to play. We're going to do a round of Chopper trivia, and this is going to be in the style of Jeopardy. So if you don't know, you have to put the answer in the form of a question. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
I'm ready to lose.
we're gonna do some Chopper trivia, see how you all do. And you are all competing. First one to shout out the correct answer wins that point. Okay.
In the form of a question.
In the form of a question. Are you ready? So the first one. Most people think that the word helicopter is broken up by syllable. However, it is actually made up of two parts that are helico, which means spiral, and this word, which means made with wings.
Tear.
What is opter? What is ter?
Close.
What is thopter?
The first word is helico. And this.
What is pater?
Yes, that is correct, Brandon. Pater. Pater. Isn't that weird? Helicopters, also known as choppers.
Like pterodactyl.
Pater. Okay.
That's where my mind ran immediately.
All right. This next one. This item was actually made of ivory and not wood, as many American history books once falsely claimed. In fact,
this is in relation to choppers.
You can view it at the museum at Mount Vernon.
What are George Washington's teeth?
That is correct.
Wow, that was a huge topic shift.
How does that relate to choppers? Choppers.
You're catching on now. You're catching on.
Also, I'm not sure those were ivory. But anyway, let's go on.
Okay. This item goes back to the Stone Age and can be described as a tool, but is also the preferred weapon for some serial killers.
What is a rock?
What is a pick?
What is a hammer? What is a chisel?
No. Shout it out, Bagel.
What is a knife?
No.
What is a scythe?
What is fire?
Think about the theme here.
What is a club?
What is an axe?
That is correct. Also known as a chopper.
Oh, it chops. Oh my god.
You're catching. You guys are. Really
I'm getting there. I'm a slow learner here.
This item is a butcher's best friend, known for its ability to chop through bone.
What is a cleaver?
That is correct. The
Leave it to cleaver.
Oh, Bagel.
Who said that?
All right.
I did.
Well done.
Okay, this one may be hard if you're not old enough, but we'll see if you can get it. The 1976 movie Bugsy Malone starred a young Jodie Foster and used these weapons that shot pies in this kid's version of a mobster movie.
Oh, I know the movie. Shot pies. So you want to know the tool, not the name of the movie, right?
It's a mobster movie that these weapons shot pies instead of bullets.
What is a Tommy gun?
I will accept that. Machine gun.
Okay, yeah. I thought if it's mobster, that would be the Tommy gun
I will accept
era,
that.
yeah.
Machine guns, also known as choppers.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
Didn't know that.
Okay. All right. We got one more. Made famous in infomercials, this kitchen item can dice, chop, and mince in seconds.
Slap chop. What is a slap chop? What is a slap chop?
He got it.
And over to Vince.
My age doomed me. I went for the Ginsu knife.
Oh yeah, that would have been 90s era.
Do you feel that Vince was better hawking the slap chop or the sham wow?
The slap chop, undoubtedly.
Yeah,
I have
the
one.
slap chop.
I'm like, I'm in. I want one. Yeah.
Matt, if you're not sure what the slap chop was, it was just like the cutting device that you could chop up onions.
You just slap it.
You just tap the top, and you were just like,
it was
this, and he just chops it up.
It was nothing to do with the product, though, Matt. It was all about the pitch man. It was this very, very seedy guy called Vince, and he made himself famous by hawking this appalling rag called the sham wow, and then moved on to the slap chop.
Yep.
Which was his crowning moment, I feel.
Yes.
I think like he became an auto-tune meme, back in the early 2000s, and it was like, "Watch this, you're gonna love my nuts," and he was like, he'd be chopping up the cashews. Like, who needs to chop up cashews? But he'd be
Of course, you don't have anybody like that in Australia, do you?
No, look, I honestly think I've missed out on that there. I think we've missed on the devices as well. I really need to go and explore this one.
Yes.
Well, in this game, everyone is a winner except for the loser, who I think Matt was the loser. Matt, did you get any of them right?
No, definitive. I was first place loser.
No, I actually lost ahead of Matt. So I will sacrifice myself as the complete loser.
No, that was fun. It was all about choppers. Well, I wanted to find out more about the movie. So you guys decided to do this. You said it took you 10 years? Or is that just... No, so it took you 2 years to do. Did you have fun the whole thing yourself? Oh, there's a inside joke here. No. How did you get the funding for it? Because that's one of the hardest things to get a film made.
Yeah. Look, we did. So the group together, so three of us funded funded this out of our own pockets, and it's really a case of getting a little bit pregnant. I think we jumped
just a little.
We jumped into it just a little. You know how you can do that. There's beyond money. It burnt some non-renewable resources. Let's put it that way. Along the way, and I think every creative project does. Probably everyone you've had on the show that's done something. There's a little bit above and beyond has that. But we just kind of began at one end and started, trouncing our way through it. Will, what do you want to add to that one? It was pretty epic.
Yeah, I think we had been Matt had been building. Sorry, my cat is getting a little bit noisy.
Wait, what is it saying in Japanese? I'm just curious.
She's just saying "nyan," which means meow.
Nyan.
So Maddie had been building bikes, and we had kind of already been doing video stuff together through his previous kind of job, which was a big kind of corporate thing. And when he started building bikes, he's like, "Man, I just want to have cool video content to go along with my bikes." So we were doing these smaller projects, and we started to we did a short film, was our first kind of step into let's put some thought into this. And we did this little short film called Tokyo Dirt. We kind of went to a racetrack. We did some driving around Tokyo, and kind of just kind of a cool, fun, music video style, just a little bit of narration at the beginning, and then black and white, and transition to color later. So it was pretty cool. And I think after that, we thought we need to start doing something a little bit more, bigger. And, Matt had said, I've been meeting all these cool builders, all of these cool writers. I think there's something there's a story that we can tell here. And and we just kind of thought, okay, well, how can we do this? What's the next step? What do we need to do to get this going? And, Matt sat down and said, okay, these are the writers that I want to get. These are the builders. These are the events. Let's see what we can do. And our first day of shooting for that was actually the Kanazawa sand flats up on the north kind of west coast of Japan. There's a flat stretch of beach, and that was just we're just gonna dive in, like Matt said. We went up there, we shot for the entire day, and it's some of the best footage in the movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here word. Yeah, it was
it was so much because it wasn't just the bikes too. There was cars, and there was and it's people men, women, kids,
all dressed
all
up,
day,
literally all in character.
Yeah, So that was and that was it. That was holy crap, this is real. For me, I was okay, well, we've been doing these little things on the side, but then it was okay, you're going to jump right into this massive event with 2,000 plus people on a beach in the sun all day, and and it was really, really amazing, and that kind of kickstarted the whole film for us. And we knew we're this is something great, and it's going to be. We just have to keep digging and seeing what else we can find.
And I think Will's being fairly humble there when he talks about this. In between Tokyo Dirt and the Roost was a little 10-minute film. That he made called Tokyo Gone, and we'd noticed that all the good things we're saying about this kind of Japan motorcycling world are true, but there was one thing that we were noticing, and that was that along with that being historically kind of accurate, so was the kind of place of women within this. It was very ridiculously male dominated. And that, so we made this little piece where we sort of flipped it and put a female in the lead and let her rock the city. And it was 10 minutes, and it was working through some of the similar aspects, some of the similar visuals and stories, but not in a documentary sort of way, just in a fun, Robin Hood reimagined.
Who was the star of that one?
That one was, I'm trying to remember, what was her name? What was Aki's?
Yukari.
Yeah.
Yukari.
So she's a real writer, and she's really doing it. But that, I think for me, that was, the proof was in the pudding there, because we did it as this will be fun for the Japanese audience, right? And we'll just use it as a bit of to poke them with a stick a little bit, and put women in charge. And I think 1.5 million views later, after we kind of dropped it, we were well, hang on a minute.
Wow.
There's something here. There's there's a body of people and comments like just off the chain with people that were sort of connecting with this and going, oh my God, I love this world. And again, we realized that it wasn't just us with our noses pressed against the glass. You know, there was still a long line of people from, you know, Indonesia, India, you know, Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, you name it. But it was like pretty much every corner of the globe had left some comments on there just going, oh, we love this and we love seeing it. And that was something that made me think, we should kind of, we're the guys on the inside here, but really we just share this.
Matt,
you know,
I'm going to jump in because we are running quite short of time. I'm going to ask Will the same question afterwards, so I'm not just picking on you. There's going to be a lot of people who are interested in this film. What is the one thing you want people to know about the Roost? And you first, Matt, and then I'll ask Will the same question. Because I want the two perspectives.
No, I think if anything with two wheels and a motor has ever made you look twice, go and check it out, because it's not just about the bikes.
Yeah.
It's about what this incredible pursuit does in every dimension of it for people's lives. And you might just find out that these are your people, not just in Japan. They're a window of it, but these people exist globally.
Oh God,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
And now the filmmaker's perspective. What is the one thing, Will, for somebody who has never seen The Roost, what do you want them to know before they see the film?
I think that my goal for this film was to show a side of Japan that allowed people who don't know anything about motorcycles, Japan, anything of that kind of cool scene can learn that there's something here that you just didn't know about. And for me, as a filmmaker, I got to go through that journey making it. I got to be introduced to this whole culture and walk away feeling like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I think I wanted this film to feel like that kind of journey where I've had people watch it who just say, I didn't know anything about bikes. I don't care about bikes. And I love that movie. And I think that was my goal as the filmmaker. Like, from the outsider looking in, I want others to feel like they're right there on the inside too, you know, and that's the kind of goal behind it.
Now we have the biggest question. Where can somebody see it?
That is a very good question. You can currently see it at theroostjapan.com /watch. And it's currently on the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival, part of their VOD service. And we're looking into getting it to some other places very soon, but currently that's the best place and the only place you can watch it.
Is it coming up on a Rev Sisters?
It just may.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've heard it may be. But yes, if you have any, and this also, the website has lots of information on the riders and builders in the film as well. So, just the Roost Japan is the easiest place to find that stuff.
And then, Matt, so did you have to leave a bike behind?
I left about 8 bikes behind. Now I've got 4. I've got 4 of them sort of whizzed away in what I could work out for storage. I got one of them street side, which is now unloved for the best part of 2 years. But it's okay. That's okay.
No, we all feel for you. We do.
So much.
The lost children of these processes.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys for coming on and sharing your film, but not just that, for capturing again this community, this culture, this scene that we don't get that much exposure to, and it's really cool to see that there's another place of the world that the chopper scene is thriving. The artists that are making bikes, putting their passion and love into the vintage style bikes, and riding and racing them. And it's really cool to see that.
I think it would be great for, I know a lot of these riders and builders are really keen to learn, have more connections. I feel it'd be great if we could ever get everyone connected. Like, I feel like a lot of people in America don't know about the whole scene here, but the riders and builders here are like in love with a lot of the things that are happening all over the world. I think if the Roost can help open some of these doors as well, that would be great. Like people can go, oh, hey, I want to follow these Japanese builders on Instagram, and those guys will follow back, and there'll be a bigger bridge to the communities. And I think that would be nice too.
I appreciate you coming on. Now you guys get to make a decision. We still have some more time, and we are going to cover choppers. Emma's going to talk quickly about the origin of the choppers, and then Bagel's going to cover scooter choppers. You guys are welcome to stay if you want, or if you need to bump out and get on your life, I get it too. I just wanted to thank you for reaching out and sharing this because we all really loved it. It's a real gem.
No, thank you both for making such a bloody marvelous film. I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us on, and it's really been an honor, and I really appreciate that you had us here.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So you're welcome to stay if you want. Because Emma, I wanted to talk about the chopper scene, the origins. Where does the term chopper come from?
Well, you see, that's a wonderful question. And in a lot of ways, you know how you refer to a vacuum cleaner as a Hoover?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of smacks of that, and we'll actually get into the origins of where it started, how it started, why it started, and how it progressed. So let's go back to the Second World War.
Okay,
We're going to transport ourselves back to the Second World War. For America, it was 1942 through 1945. And as part of the campaign, America's role was a great producer of vehicles, not just for the American troops, for all of the Allies. And Harley-Davidson and Indian produced thousands upon thousands of military motorcycles, a lot of which were ridden in European theatre, a lot of which were ridden...
People are still pulling like WLAs out of attics.
There you go.
Stuff.
The WLA, the bike that won the war. A lovely piece of machinery. It's a 750cc side valve V-twin, classic Harley-Davidson styling. So, the war ended at the end of 1945. We all know this. This is history. But what are the people that fought in the war? So let's take...
what were you riding then?
Oh, I had already been through so many motorcycles, and I was retired from my first job.
So you got rid of the steam bike.
I'd got rid of the steam bike by then, which I bought directly from Isambard Kingdom Brunel, I'll have you know. And he let me wear his hat on occasion. Lucky Emma. So let's take our imaginary friend Joe. And Joe was the tail gunner in a B-17.
Okay.
And as you can imagine, he led quite an exciting life during the Second World War, and probably was quite terrified most of the time. Well, the war's over, and Joe is now finding himself living in the Midwest in a very sedentary lifestyle. He's got to go out, earn his keep,
working
start
at
a
the
family,
grocery store,
working at the grocery store,
herding sheep back in the farm.
And the excitement of shooting Messerschmitt 262s out of the sky is a little missing. But he's got money in his pocket, and guess what? The market is being flooded with ex-Army WLA 45 motorcycles. He can buy himself a Harley-Davidson cheaply, and as a bonus, this camaraderie that he had with the crew of the B-17, he can find in the local motorcycle club. So this is kind of like the soup that started the whole process. So there's a glut of cheap bikes, there's a glut of still very young men who are craving excitement and needing the camaraderie. So,
Emma, that's something that really speaks to me, and I'm sure to you as well.
Oh, absolutely.
That camaraderie is something that really, really gets me in the motorcycle community. It's something that I miss from the military.
Well, certainly in Britain, when I was starting my motorcycling career, not as Liza suggests in the 19th century, but in the 1970s in Britain, it was this close-knit motorcycle community that really brought me in. So we'll go back to Joe. So he buys himself his ex-Army WLA 45, and as just about everybody did, he found it a little overweight. It got a giant front fender. It had got a giant rear fender. It got all kinds of extraneous military crap on it. And
it's all slowing you down.
It's all slowing you down. So you find that instead of riding it around Europe and shooting Germans, now you want to ride it in a group on faster roads. So you need performance. So the irony of the chopper culture, it was really born out of performance initially. If you take that giant front fender off, if you cut down the rear fender, if you take the giant military seat and the saddlebags and the saddlebag frames and the gun holder and all the military stuff off it, you've got a lighter weight bike that's at least 100 pounds lighter, is going to go faster because it's that power to weight ratio, right? Matt was telling me carbon fiber. Why do we love carbon fiber? Because it's so lightweight and strong. You can't escape the power to weight ratio. So what these guys were doing they were literally chopping up military bikes and riding in groups. So immediately you've got young men looking for adventure riding in a group on cut down military bikes. And if you take a military WLA 45, take all the crap off it, well, that looks like a chopper. Now, the reality is what they did would be known as a bobber now. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference between a chopper and a bobber. A chopper, as we know it, has an extended fork, has high handlebars, maybe has an extended neck, a tiny fuel tank. And a bobber is a chunkier motorcycle that's kind of cut down at the back. If we think about Easy Rider, because that's a very, very good yardstick to ride, the two bikes in Easy Rider was Captain America and the Billy Bob bike. The Billy Bob bike was far more of a bobber. It was a shorter bike. It had just a cut-down rear fender. It was altogether chunkier. It had a full-size fuel tank. The Captain America bike was longer. It was leaner. It had the high sissy bar. It had the very extended forks and the high handlebars. That's more of a traditional chopper. But back in 46, everything was a chopper because they were literally chopping these bikes up.
And it is quite ironic that it had to do with performance and handling, making the bike better. When what you see the arc of the choppers where it went to bikes that performed horribly.
Right.
But that's one thing I love about the Roost and that scene is those bikes are being ridden and ridden hard.
Right. So if we go back to the beach scene in the Roost, the Harley Davidsons going down the beach are far more of the purity of design that we'd see throughout America in the late 40s and early 50s of these bikes that were being built in people's sheds, in people's homes, by not skilled craftsmen. You know, some of them were built to a very, very high standard. Your job in the Air Force, your job in the Army, you may have just been a gunner, not just an infantryman. You may have been an engineer and worked to a high standard.
And did you comment on one of the traits that carried over from the airplanes to the choppers on the side of the tank?
What, the teeth?
The pinup girls.
Well,
I thought that's something I love. That's why
the bomber nose art.
Yeah, that's why on my chopper I had a pinup girl painted on it as a tribute.
I hate to tell you this, Liza. That came later.
Ah.
The order of the day back then, these were rudimentary bikes. I mean, mostly you'd buy them at auctions, and they were army green. Everything was army green. So guess what? Pot of flat black paints and put that right.
Yeah.
And if you had access to money, well, that's great. Maybe you want to get it painted. Maybe you want to get it chromed. But the initial bikes were very, very rudimentary. Let's go back to that film, The Wild One. Now, The Wild One was based on an actual incident that happened in Hollister in the late 1940s. And it was a motorcycle gang who happened to be I believe the one gang were Royal Army Air Force, not Royal Army Air Force, forgive me, US Army Air Force personnel who were one gang out of San Francisco, and they rode into Hollister for the weekend on cut-down bikes. And then there was a rival gang who were based, I believe, out of Oakland. And everyone converged on this little town, and we all know the story. But it's great revisiting that film and actually looking at the bikes that were presented. Of course, the lead, Marlon Brando, was riding a Triumph in it. And those were by no means uncommon. Triumphs and BSAs and Nortons were very revered because of the lightweight. They were a more performance bike. But again, it's full of these very rudimentary choppers.
No, I was just going to say that on that bike scene, I think the British stuff was until the Sportster came out in, what was it, late 50s, early 60s?
Absolutely.
There wasn't anything that could compare. So they literally were rocket ships by comparison.
Yeah. Right.
So
and it was always
the crowd was working hard to keep up.
Yeah, it was always this quest to lose weight to get the power up, because, a WLA, it's not a powerhouse. I mean, it's about a 35, 40 horsepower engine on a good day. So if you can get a lot of the weight up, you could nearly catch your mate on a Triumph. But I absolutely agree with you, Matt, until the Sportster came along. And the Sportster changed everything, because now the Sportster and the Bonneville were, a good match. A good rider on the Sportster could catch a Bonneville. Conversely, a good rider on a Bonneville was a good match for a Sportster. So let's talk a little bit about Easy Rider and the cultural change, this cataclysmic change it had. I'm going to talk very, very briefly about one of the greatest injustices ever perpetrated in motorcycling. And I'm not going to... I always try and present both sides of the coin. I'm not here to say why it was. I'm going to give you an idea. You can form your own conclusions. Easy Rider, we talked briefly about the bike, so let's talk about the Captain America bike. The Captain America bike was a quintessential chopper. What people don't realize is that kind of bike had been around since the early 60s, predominantly in LA. And it was the African-American bike gangs who really perfected that design. And so now we get into one of what I feel is the greatest injustices. Easy Rider came out in 1969. And Peter Fonda always credited himself with designing those bikes. There's two schools of thoughts. We found out later that they weren't designed by Peter Fonda. The bikes were actually designed by two guys, Clifford Stoney Vaughan, and he was the actual designer, and it was built by Ben Hardy. These were two black guys who were working in southern LA at the time. And it was absolutely classic of their design. And the origins of the Captain America bike go back to 1964. So here's the 2 points of view. Easy Rider came out only 6 years after the Freedom buses went through the South. There was still that culture prevailing. And the filmmakers, I'm not entirely sure whether the filmmakers considered that crediting African-American builders would hinder their film. That's the one point of view. The other point of view is far more benign. Peter Fonda, he was trying to make a name for himself in biker culture, and saying that he'd design these bikes would just make him that bit cooler. I'm kind of tending towards the latter. It's up to you to make a conclusion about what happened. But up until recently, the two original builders were never credited. And it was only really in the early 2000s that they even found out who built these bikes. But that was the quintessential chopper. Then everything kind of went quiet until the late 90s. And then the scene that you talked about, Liza, really exploded. And it almost became a parody of itself.
And I would say that actually Arlen Ness was part of that bridge. He
had a foot in both camps.
In both camps when the Sportster came out, and that became a great platform.
Right.
All the way up to the just really ridiculous, crazy builds. So the thing is fascinating, though, is the chopper scene. It came and has never gone away. It's always been here in some form or another, somewhere in the world. But there's a scene I'm curious about that I don't know that much about. But I have a feeling that Bagel might be able to answer us.
Bagler!
Is there a chopper scooter scene?
Yes, there actually is.
Don't you tell me it's out of England, because I will wring your neck.
It is out of England.
I knew that already.
Yes. It originated, I believe, in the mid to late 70s.
Yes.
Where scooters had been, up to that point, they had been basic transportation, for people of modest means. And they were ubiquitous. Scooters were everywhere in England. And so in the 70s, as I understand it, youth who were just kind of bored and had, looking for something to get into.
Disaffected, darling. Disaffected youth.
Disaffected youth, yes. Decided to just have fun with these scooters, and inspired, I'm sure, in some part by American chopper culture. They said, well, let's see what we can do with chopping up these scooters. And because scooters were largely, they had a lot of sheet metal on them, it was pretty easy to remove a lot of panels and just unbolt stuff. And you're just down to the basic frame of the bike. And in some cases, they'd put on, very slender fenders instead of these big mud guards. And they would rake the forks out and make them longer. And it's sort of a movement that grew over time, and people got more and more elaborate with the designs as time went on. And by the time the 80s came around, scooter choppers in England became just the most over-the-top, incredibly gaudy things you can possibly imagine, where they would take, not only would they stretch the front forks, they would do like twisted wrought style designs for the front forks and then plate them in gold. And then somebody decided that's not enough. We're going to engrave them after twisting these forks, engrave them with all sorts of intricate designs, and then plate them in gold. and this whole chopper scene just kind of went absolutely insane. There was all sorts of top-notch paint jobs being applied to these bikes with themed paint schemes, where it would be the theme of a movie or the theme of a band or a song even. And they'd have, photos airbrushed onto, the frame of the bike or the tank or something. And it is, I think that it's largely waned from its peak, but there still are a significant number of scooter choppers out there in the world. And even though it started in England, it influenced a lot of people in the rest of Europe, especially in Germany. It influenced a lot of people in the United States as well. In fact, I know of one guy down in the South Bay who built a fantastic chopper back in the day that was just won all sorts of awards. And I saw it came up for sale a couple of years ago, and went to somebody bought it somewhere, but yeah, the influence of chopper scooters has gone far and wide, and even though it's fairly limited these days, it still does live on, and there are still people that are building them to this day.
I think that's fascinating. And is that also evident in Japan? Is there scooter choppers? Have you guys seen that there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's mental, and I think it went so far as to go full circle it influenced the designers of scooters. So there's a lot of kind of these long. One of them's called the Joker model, but it's almost like if Alan Ness had have applied it to a scooter with this long, drawn out, fender at the back, a lot of chrome and everything, the drag bars and the like. But no, full circle being the Ruckus. I look at the subculture that is there. And now Honda obviously built that specifically as the best, kind of anti-establishment raw platform for you to do what you're going to do with.
Bagel.
So almost feeding in raw material to that.
You will have to apologize to me, Bagel. You have to apologize to me right now.
Well,
that's my take on it.
Thank you. Because I made the same connection, and I said I'm going to say that the Ruckus is the byproduct of chopper scooters, and that is a factory chopper. And he said, "Don't you dare say that."
I'm not sure if that was Honda's intention. That's how it worked out.
Just say I was right. Just say I was right.
Well, let me couch this. There's a lot of layers here because the Ruckus was. Now, your claim, Liza, was that this was a factory chopper.
It's factory chopper because,
no, it's nothing of the sort, because the Ruckus is meant as a utilitarian bike, and this is more along the lines of the what was that bike? The
Are you talking about the Honda?
No, there was what's that? The Cushman. Hunter.
The Motora, the moto truck. Was that the one with the pressed steel sides? And
I'm not sure if that's the one, but there was a Cushman model that was made back in the 60s. That was a very utilitarian bike. I think it was like the Huntsman or something like that. It was called. And there have been a number of other very utilitarian bikes over the years. And before the little Ruckus came out, the Honda came out with the big Ruckus first. That was the 200cc. That absolutely was a farm, implement sort of utilitarian type of bike. The little Ruckus was just a smaller version of that. Now, the fact that that bike was then latched onto by a very enthusiastic young customization community in both Japan and the US, who shared lots of cross-pollination back and forth. That's kind of what turned it into a chopper-like sort of thing, if you want to think of that. It has nothing to do with the original design being a minimalistic design. That's just the utilitarian approach that they took for both the big and the little Ruckus. The whole customization of putting GY6 motors and stretching the little Ruckus out.
Bagel.
That became its own whole thing, which is completely separate and independent from vintage
Bagel.
European chopper scooter culture.
I'm going to hold my ground. The Ruckus is a chop scooter, and you can't handle the truth. There you go.
I'm going to have to love you and leave you, but I'm on that. I reckon it's full circle.
Exactly. Hey, I wanted to thank you guys again for coming on and sharing. I mean, we can talk about choppers and scooters and the custom scene forever. It's something that is a huge part of the motorcycle world and scooter that we live in. And I'm so grateful to see into the Japanese scene. So I hope you guys have more stuff coming down the pipe, because we can't get enough.
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever comes next too.
I think maybe the chopper scooter scene might be the next.
That could be fun. That totally would. It really would.
Or really,
There's
honestly,
a lot of history there.
The Bosozoku.
Robots.
I would love to see more of that, because it is so unique and so interesting. And so much of the world doesn't even know. I didn't know until someone gave me this book, and I'm like, what the heck? So,
that's wild.
And we're not against delving into slightly controversial subjects on Misfits. And I mean, this association with this deeply nationalistic party, that's kind of interesting, I think, that they would pull their ranks from Bosozoku culture. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about that at some stage in the future.
Let's look into it. I gotta fly, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
A pleasure. Right. Thank you, Matt. Right. Thank you, Will.
And I will put a link.
Very much.
I'll put a link in our show notes for people to find your movie.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
So
take care.
I think we have time for a couple emails. Bagel, I sent you one. I'm going to read one real quick. And this one is our friend Greg. And he says, hey, I'm signed up for Kat and Emma's Italian Dolomites ride.
Ooh, nice.
I'm so excited. How can I get more info about this Stump-A-Stan ride? I might do that one too if it's later in the year. Well, it is in May, so it's sooner in the year, but it's not too late. Thanks, Liza, for a wonderful podcast and your team's inspiration for all things motor related. Your Gary Davis interview is just fantastic. Despite technical challenges, I really enjoyed it. That was one of my favorites, Emma.
Yeah, it was.
Gary Davis, that was a huge get for me. Evel Knievel's, buddy and replacement rider. That was Emma. Stop it. All right, Emma, you have a couple there that are quite long.
Yeah,
so
no, I do, and
I'm
gonna cut them down. So I have an email here from Cam Cole.
Hey, Cam.
Hello again, Liza. I had a day off work, so I finally decided to do the Patreon thing and to email the Misfits too. So Cam has actually sent me a very nice question on Ask Miss Emma. However, Cam, I've got to cut this email down, darling, because it is so long. He asked a couple of questions about Corbin seats and Veta fairings. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a history hole on both.
Well,
No, about the actual products, not about the people.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a history hole on both.
Well, we have interviewed both of them.
Yes.
And have past episodes that cover both of them.
Well, it might be time to dip into them again.
Okay.
So I'll do that. Anyway, I've got to say this week's episode was great. I tried to stay up to date on this newfangled elastic trickery technology about bikes of the future. But he's got a lot of old two-strokes as well. RD400, Titan 500, GT 380, not too shabby. S2 350, that's Kawasaki. H1 with an H2 engine in it. Core the blimeys. And they're all unfinished or unstarted products. Well, that's the Misfit way, Cameron, darling. So, where are we? He's talking about a lot about Veta, and I would like to really dip into, we have talked to Craig about his journey, but I don't remember talking about the products and the development of the Veta fairing, and I think it'd make a bloody great history hole. So I'm going to do it. We should answer that.
I guess I can't stop you.
So anyway, yeah, you can't. Tra-la-la. Emma goes her own way. So, Cam, I know I've hacked your email to bits, and I do apologize, darling, but you have inspired me to do a history hole on Veta fairings and the development of Veta fairings and how he came about the design and all the weird and wonderful knockoffs there were around the 70s. And good old Mike Corbin. We love him. We love his seats. We love his offshoots of his seats. And we're going to do a history hole on that lot as well. Tra-la-la. What do you have to say about that?
Cool.
All right, then.
All right. Bagel, you got one there?
I do.
Okay.
I have an email here from Andreas Gerler.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the Federal Trademark Agency of Germany. Yes. Yeah.
Emma.
He writes, "Hi, Misfits. Here is another one for Bagel to read."
Yeah.
I was just listening to episode 460. I know I am a little bit behind. Garage days were pretty noisy lately. I was building brake caliper mounting brackets to get my Beamer R65 to 1990 standards. 4 piston calipers. Now we can finally stop and not just deaccelerate. With the new brake lines in the next days, I finally get a rate of 1 in 3 again. You can't have enough project bikes, can you?
Yeah.
Another pro tip, preheat the metal before putting paint on it. Not only if you have 50 degrees Fahrenheit in your shop.
Yes, good idea.
Actually,
Yeah.
and I'd like to add to that pro tip, I heat my cans of paint on a heater beforehand.
Nice. Good
Well,
thinking.
you've got to be careful that you don't overheat them. I'll tell you what's smashing
too
for
hot.
the job is a saucepan full of hot water and just drop them in. Yes.
Yeah. However, as you asked for a Knight Rider motorcycle remake, I instantly thought about the short-living cousin, Street Hawk.
Street Hawk.
Oh,
Still-
yes.
Yeah.
I remember Street Hawk.
Still watchable after almost 40 years. With all of this sea thing going on, we finally booked now 3 weeks of motorcycle fun for March 2023 in LA.
Ooh, cool.
So if you have any suggestions where to stop besides Santa Cruz and Marina, we are still early in the planning. Looking forward to not only leaving a letter this time as I did in 2017. So long, Andy from Hamburg.
Oh,
Thanks,
cool.
Andy.
So, Andy from Hamburg,
Yes.
part of being in LA is star spotting. And there is no better place to meet Hollywood stars on their motorbikes than Neptune's Net on a Sunday morning. And Neptune's Net is on Highway 1 in Malibu.
And I was going to add, depending upon which way you're coming up, because coming up, one keeps collapsing. So if you're coming up 101, stop in Solvang for the motorcycle museum there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there's also the Hearst Castle. That's worth a visit.
And the elephant
it's
seals.
Opulence. Yes, American opulence.
Yeah.
And because Highway 1 is probably going to be having some closures because of landslides, I would recommend also taking Highway 25 on the inland route, which is also continues into Indian Valley Road and Peachtree Road, I think it is. It's a wonderful little rural road that goes right along the San Andreas Fault going up California. So if you can't get through on the coast, that makes a great substitute for riding north.
Awesome. All right. And I think we got time for one more. This one is from Joe.
Hello, Joe.
It says, hey, y'all, my name is
Joe.
Joe from Atlanta, Georgia, but originally from Chicago, Illinois. I am a long-time listener, but
Read it in
figured
the accent, Liza.
I got it in the Atlanta, Georgia accent. What you talking about,
No, he's
son?
from Illinois.
Chicago.
No.
He's from
No, you
Chicago.
acclimate. When you're down in the South, you acclimate.
Or you
But
get
he
shot.
says, but I figured I'd give this email thing a shot. You can thank the Degenerate Drinking Podcast that occasionally talks about motorcycles over in Cleveland for sending me your way. I am
Who?
Nice.
Cleveland.
Who are they?
Moto.
I am a young lad at 23 and
Oh,
currently,
he is. He's very young.
currently ride a 2019 Yamaha MT Master of Tickets 09, but have also had many other bikes in the few years I have been riding. I love dirt riding and would love to get back into it once I can figure out a way to facilitate it again, as I had to give it up for college and starting my career. So thank you all for stoking the fires and allowing me to live vicariously in the dirt through you. I also will be attending the Stumpistan trip, which I am very excited for. Previously, I've only visited Canada outside of the U.S., so this should prove to be quite the memorable adventure. Oh, yes, it will. I have a question regarding mileage on bikes. My MT already has about 17,500 miles on it and counting, and I've put about 1,000 of those on since purchasing it 2 months ago. What would you consider high mileage for a modern motorcycle and also a classic motorcycle? If there is a difference. Also, have you ever had to replace a motor because you had so many miles on the bike that it was just easier to get a new motor and keep the rest? I love my bike and plan to keep it until the wheels fall off of these. So these are some of the things I've been thinking about. Emma, please tell me why don't more motorcycle manufacturers produce bikes with underbelly exhaust similar to the MT-09 Ninja 650? And the MT-07, what is the purpose of having a big honking pipe sticking out the back, something like a CBR 1000 RRRR? Cheers, y'all, from Atlanta. Stay safe and healthy, and I wish you many miles of smiles. So
I think I read this one last week, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
I think I did.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Well, let's just answer it anyway.
Do you want to talk about it?
Well, just the mileage on the bikes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did talk. Yeah, like 100,000 is easy.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Not
but it totally
a problem.
depends on the bike, too.
And underbelly exhaust, I think it's harder because you have that heat displacement you got to deal with. And that can be hard depending on what you have.
Wait a minute. There's far more bikes with underbelly exhaust than under-seat exhaust.
Well, yeah, but it has to come up over the tail and under the seat. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, I tell you.
Because it's just a lot easier to stick it out the side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cost effective.
And, where are you going to put the battery? All bikes I know that have under-seat exhaust that go under the belly and then up and over under the seat, with a bloody battery, it's always in an odd spot, like sitting...
Right, because you can't put the battery right above the exhaust because you'll cook it.
Right, exactly, because elastic trickery is heat sensitive.
Yes,
I just remember going back to the chopper scene.
Yes.
When I was watching those biker build-off movies, and there was one, I don't remember if it was Billy from... anyway, one of them had put an under-seat exhaust like he'd seen on sport bikes, but on this chopper. And as they're riding, his seat caught on fire.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Exactly. And
heat shield there.
So, and, it's funny because sometimes when these guys were building these bikes, they're trying to be innovative and creative, and they didn't always
think
work out.
it
They didn't think it
all
through.
the parts through. Yeah,
exactly.
important sometimes.
I know. Well, hey man, this is our chopper podcast. We haven't really talked a lot about choppers, but it's something that I really appreciate. And so many people think I'm like, I don't like Harleys. No, I love all the things. And I do appreciate choppers. Don't do it, Emma. Don't do it, Emma. I've muted you. Ha 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 ha. I got to take away that fart machine from her. But yeah, I think we all appreciate choppers, custom bikes, the craft that goes into it. And, be it a chopped up or bobbed or cafe'd, whatever you start from, if it's done well, and this is where I kind of cast some shade on people when they show up and like, look, I took a chop saw and cut this thing off, and like, you really have to think it through and make things flow and fit. And that's, again, what I said to the guys. The thing I appreciate most in a custom bike are the things you don't see.
The things. But Misfits is a very welcoming and loving environment for everyone. And we are that way with bikes as well. Everything is valid. Everything is appreciated. Everything is looked at and scrutinized and liked. It's that kind of environment. And if we were to say, oh, everyone's welcome here except of choppers or except Harley Davidsons, that's not the Misfit way. So we like everything.
Exactly.
Except scooters.
Well, you know what else I like? T-shirts.
I thought you liked pie.
Yeah, I like pie too.
Oh, I love pie.
So here's my announcement. So I have now shipped out all the shirts to all of our Patreon subscribers who get it. Bagel, did yours arrive yet?
It did arrive.
Yay!
Do you like the new colors, Bagel?
I do. I think they're lovely.
So I now have shirts for sale. So if you're interested in one of our new shirts, it is $25 shipped to you anywhere in the US. And all you have to do is send me an email, or a PayPal for $25, include your size. I only have small through extra large. Sorry, we are out of double XL and bigger sizes because there were so many people who jumped onto Patreon who were those double XLs. I didn't order enough. So small through XL, if you would like one, send me a PayPal to recyclemotorcyclegarage@gmail.com. and put your size in the notes, and I will ship it out, and you can get one of these new fancy dancy shirts. I think that's it. We for anyone who is interested in coming on any of our trips, I am putting the links in the show notes. Also, I put them on our brand new website. There are links to all of our trips there.
Absolutely. If you are on the fence about joining Kat and Emma's Alpine adventure, you'd better get your shit together right now, because we are getting close to being sold out. Another couple of spots, we're done. Because there is a minimum amount of people that can go on the trip to make it viable, but there's every inch a maximum amount as well. And once we reach that number, and I believe that number is 20, that's it. The trip can't exist anywhere beyond that number. So sign up for it. It's going to be great. You get to hang out with me and Kat, and we're cool people. And we get drunk and do silly things, which makes it all the more fun. And we like eating schnitzel. And if you've never had schnitzel before, oh, dear God, you're missing out.
Oh, my word. So go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. Check out the new website. Follow the links to all those things. Eventually, I'm going to figure out how to get the T-shirts for sale up there. I'm figuring it out as I go, but we'll have those pictures up soon. And this is a time where I get to thank all of our Patreon subscribers. You guys are great. We've got so many people who got free shirts and really are supporting us. And I'm going to be using that for our big 500th episode party. But also, tonight I wanted to give a big thanks to Emma and Bagel. And here's why. All the other guys are out doing other stuff. And, we do this week in, week out, and you get different misfits coming in. But I can always rely on Emma and Bagel to be there. And that's what keeps us going. So I wanted to thank you guys for being there and the contribution you make. And,
thanks, Liza.
and even with a topic like this, we all had something to contribute to it. So I hope everyone else enjoyed your stories and input as well. If you would like to send us an email, send it to recyclemotorcyclegarage@gmail.com. And in fact, I guess I'll announce, I did also get motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. So if you're going through the website, that's the new email there. They all come to me if you just don't want to type in that many letters. So I think we're ready to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. This is Liza.
Emma, darling!
Bagel.
And we are out of here.
Cool.